What's up, y'all? Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, get in, get in, get in. All right, I got good news and I got bad news. Which one do y'all want to hear first? You could just say it out loud. The bad news? Okay, look. The bad news is this is probably the least exciting first 6 episodes in Love is Blind short but storied history. The good news is, well, actually, there's two good newses. Good news number one, I'm going to be working extra hard to try to get us through this together. Good news number two, when things get really bad, at least we still got Temptation Island. Montoya, por favor. No. She was riding that thing to freedom. Y'all would have crashed out too. All right, welcome to Tate's Take. If you're new here, today we'll be breaking down the first 6 episodes of Love is Blind Season 8. And that's all the episodes that I've seen. But I'm going to be talking about them like you've seen them too. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Taste Takers, let's see BB what we really need to see here. Get it? Well, it was kind of cryptic. Like, CBB, what we really need to see? I don't even know if I get it all the way. I hope I get it. Never mind. Okay, quick preamble here. And the reason I say quick is because I already talked about a lot of this stuff in my Meet the Cast video. Oh, you didn't see my Meet the Cast video? You know, when I say like, comment, and subscribe, after the subscribe, I don't really always be saying it, but it should be implied that I also meant hit the little notification bell. When you hit that bell, it lets you know, hey, Taste talking about strangers again. Anyway, look, if you happen to not see that video and you want to, it's going to be floating. Well, I'm gonna make it float. It's gonna be on one of these sides. But just let that be a lesson to you. So yeah, Love is Blind started 5 years ago. This season, we are here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Of course, our hosts are Nick and Vanessa Lachey. These people come on our television and tell us this is the biggest season of Love is Blind yet, because they got 16 men and 16 women, which is an increase from, I think, 15 men and 15 women. Regardless, you're only going to see about 4 of them. And if you're black, let's just say they gave out your Grammy during the commercial break. And I guess that makes sense. Did you guys know that the state of Minnesota is 80% white? Eesh. I mean, the city of Minneapolis is 62% white, which is a little better, but there's no official confirmation of where season 9 is taking place, but there's a heavy rumor that it's taking place in Denver. So another season that's going to be about as white as the Rockies. The season 8 just getting started. There's going to be a lot of those today, just so you're just getting ahead of it. Just, what am I doing? What is it called? Setting expectations. I'm just setting expectations. Anyway, but all hope is not lost because they have concluded casting in cities like Atlanta, Miami, Columbus, Ohio, and Boston. So hopefully they make those. Okay, preamble complete. Let's open up the pods. Boom, episode 1. This one's called I Have a Husband. Lovely title of a first episode. I don't even know what that even means, but just let me get ahead of this for a second because this is that kind of video where I'm going to just need to take a little sippy sip as we go along. So if you don't mind me. Okay, so you know how before they open up the pods, Nick and Vanessa Lachey go out there and they're like, all right, guys, so what brings you on Love is Blind? You're looking for love in a strange place? And they're all like, yeah, I want something different. I usually write down a couple notes of things that stood out. This time I only wrote down 2 things. Number 1, Daniel complaining because he's so small. He's like, well, I'm just a really small person. And I've been really self-conscious about that. So I figure if I go on Love is Blind, these girls will have no idea how short I am and they'll be forced to fall in love with me. Would you believe that this man is 5'8"? The average height of an American man is 5'9". Stop complaining, Lord Farquhar. Makes you look even shorter. The other thing I wrote down is how Molly said she never had a boyfriend, which is fine. But talk about going from 0 to 100 nigga real quick. Okay, the pods are open. Let's see who's swirling and who's twirling. Our first example of this is with Daniel and Taylor. They're in the pods together. Daniel's, of course, complaining to us about his height again. Daniel tells Taylor he's always wanted a family and he's looking for the mother of his children. This girl, Taylor's writing this down like he said he builds houses for poor people on the weekends. He also tells Taylor that he has a blind sister, which is a nice, vulnerable moment. His sister probably thinks he's 6'2". Why would his sister think he's 6'2"? Okay, that was out of line and uncalled for. I'm sure his sister knows his real height. Can we move on? Thank you. Anyway, then Taylor tells everyone she's a colonoscopy nurse and goes on about rectal bleeding, which is freaking disgusting. Then to the black section we go. We got Brittany. That's how she says it. It's not Brittany, so don't disrespect her. I mean, I know this is her name, and you can say it however you want, but it's kind of like people, you know, the word like croissant. Like, I know that's not how you're supposed to really say croissant, but when someone really comes around and says it, you're like, because you got your little degree and you know every fucking thing. Anyway, she's spending time with Devin, the only black man you're going to see this whole season. He plays basketball, and I guess she does too, and she tells him, boy, I'll drag you in basketball. Maybe. But he is younger, though. She's 34 and he's 28. She's like, damn, bro, have you ever dated someone older? He's like, yeah, girl. When I was 24, I dated someone that was 30. Okay, Devin, like I'm seasoned. Then Devin goes on a date with Virginia. Tells her he's into fashion. First of all, no, you're not. Second of all, watch it, nerd. Not too much on my girl. Anyway, they find out that they went to the same high school. But at 33, she was damn near teaching that bitch when he was in school. I'm just kidding. She's not a teacher. She actually used to dance for the NBA. And she has her doctorate. Then we got another little connection brewing between Joey and Monica. They're both trying to get us to believe that they don't like country music. But Joey swing dances? What is swing dancing? Okay. All right. Then Monica. Look, Monica is so nice, but I have to talk about this. Monica's like, oh yeah, Joey, you're going to love this. My dad's from Chile. I've got family down there. And sometimes I go visit. Monica, why would he like this? Like, have you ever talked to a human before? Like, connect the dots. I thought she was going to say like, oh, my dad's in Chile. And did you know Chile has a huge swing dancing community? They probably don't even swing dance in Chile, but I was ready to give her the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, Joey tells her that he's also close with his family. He's got 3 sisters, one of whom was in my comments. So, hello again. And another one, unfortunately, that passed away, which we never like to hear. Then Monica tells him the story about how she was broken up with by some dude that she was house sitting for, and she still doesn't know why to this day, which is not funny, but also hilarious. Then we meet Dave, who for some reason thinks it's funny to ask these women what's wrong with them as his opening line. Good Lord. He says he's here because he's been an ass in his previous dating life. Brother, I don't know how to tell you this, but Dave says he works in medical aesthetics, so he's surrounded by plastic surgery and all that shit. That's why he wants to come on the show. Dave has a date with Lauren, and watch this. Lauren says, hey, Dave, nice to meet you. How old are you? He says, I'm 32. How old are you? She says, I'm 30. Dave says, oh, so that means you're no longer attractive. I'm sorry, what? Are you okay? Like, bro, do you realize you're older than her? What is it that makes you think a woman's looks deteriorate faster than yours? Also, for the dude who works around plastic surgery and is trying to get away from it, you talk about appearances the most. Then this freaking weirdo's like, you know I have my own OnlyFans? She's like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I hate this guy. And the sad thing is, she seems so nice too. Remember when she dropped that line and she was like, the best thing a father can do for their kids is love their mother? She freaking ate with that one. Poor thing says she just hasn't found it yet. And I hate to be the one to tell you, you still haven't. Unfortunately, Dave hasn't been kicked off the show yet for being an idiot. So his next pod date is with Molly. Molly's the one who never had a boyfriend. And I was kind of making fun of her, but it makes sense. This girl just says, look, I'm not trying to have a boyfriend, just have a boyfriend. Anyway, in their pod date, he tells her, yeah, I was the typical white guy growing up. Whoops. I shouldn't have said anything about my appearance. Listen here, bucko. It wasn't unclear. Dave said that he grew up in the Catholic Church and that his mom and dad aren't together because she died from cancer, which is a strange way to phrase that. Anyway, she battled breast cancer for over 10 years, which is commendable, and we always applaud that. Okay, over to the first pod regroup where everyone finds out who everybody likes. This girl, Molly, has the nerve to say that she likes Dave out loud. A choice. Quick little public service announcement here by Alex, who says, you know, I really was unattractive. I had an afro, I had braces, I had acne. I once had a crush on a girl and told her that I liked her, and she laughed in my face. Christopher. And she laughed in my face. Okay, walk it off, Christopher. We got another pod date. We're with Alex and Madison. This is where we get Madison's traumatic origin story. Basically, her parents had her by accident when they were 19. They both had problems with drugs. Her stepdad came into her life when she was 2 years old. By the time she was in 8th grade, that guy had OD'd. This dude, Alex, is like, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I also had some issues in my childhood. I had acne. Okay, remember in the beginning when I said that my first good news is that I was going to try really hard? I'm going to start now. Okay, get back serious, because it wasn't just acne. Okay, obviously. He was also bullied, suffered from ADHD, failed high school, and got kicked out of his house. So you see, it's not this. You just gotta listen to the rest of the video. All right, I'm about to get serious though, because after that, that's when Alex says, because of all that stuff I went through, when I'm in a room, I could always see who's not being included, and I make it a point to include them. And that is one of the most powerful things we will hear in these first 6 episodes. I ain't gonna lie, their vibe, it had me smiling and kicking my feet. I'm not gonna lie. But over to another pod date, we got Mason and Madison. Madison, what are you doing? You are for Alex and Alex only. Anyway, they're talking about how he got into cinematography through skating as a kid. Then she tells him the story about how she lost her brother who was named after Brett Favre, and that at the New Year's Eve game in 2020, she got to wear that Brett Favre jersey. It's just a heavy moment, and I hate to say it, but Mason is also nice. Over to the other girl in Mason's love triangle, we are with Meg. And I think Meg just got done playing outside barefoot. When you want to talk about a masterclass in word vomit, listen up. This girl Meg is all over the place. They already start talking about aliens. He's like, oh, I'm actually into aliens. I listen to a lot of Bob Lazar stuff. Wait a minute, Mason. What you know about Bob Lazar? This man must roll in the best of circles. Then she asks him, hey, do you think if aliens came down, they will be friendly or not? Obviously, they're going to be friendly. Also, you see how she got her sandals on now? I bet the production team was like, girl, if you don't put some shoes on, don't you know Tate's Take is going to drag you? But it's too late. I already dragged her. Anyway, then she tells him how she doesn't even smoke, but she has sober high thoughts. Goes off on this rant about Joe Rogan talking about the ant farms and how intricate they are. Okay. They talk about pyramids. They talk about spirits. They talk about ghosts. She's like, wait a minute. Are you religious? He's like, no. She's like, that's the best thing I heard all day. Because she says her parents are very Christian and they already told her that she's going to hell. Very Christ-like behavior there. And speaking of going to hell, over to another pod date with Dave and Molly. Naturally, they're talking about exorcisms. Then he tells her, hey, you know I told some of the girls I had an OnlyFans and they believed me? Like, why would they not believe you? You said it, and it wasn't unbelievable. It's not like you said you believe men and women should be paid equally. Anyway, then this dweeb asks her, hey, how important is sex to you? She's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty important. Also, I like to ask questions to make sure I'm doing a good job. He's like, speaking of asking questions, I feel like in these pods, I've been asking you a lot of questions. How do you feel about this? She's like, yeah, in the beginning, I love when a man takes charge. Dave's like, yeah, that's what the fuck I thought. He's like, okay, back to the sex talk. Is there anything you're not into? And she's like, not really. Sadly, we're stuck with Dave for a little bit longer. He's on a pot date with Lauren. This is where Lauren tells him that her dad's name is also Dave, and this freak wants to know if that means that she wants to smash him. He goes on to talk about how he has an older sister, and because of that, he just gets it. He even puts the toilet seat down at his house like a good boy. Anyway, this is important, so pay attention. Apparently, his sister didn't like the idea of him going on Love is Blind because none of these girls will be good enough for him. Now, how could she know that? The sad thing is, Lauren doesn't even challenge it. She's like, right, yeah, because I already hate myself too. Lauren's so damn nice. Instead of asking why is this girl such a fucking narc, she's like, hey, how can I get your sister to like me? He's like, I don't know, I guess just hang out with her. She's like, where does she live? This girl's trying to pull up on her right now. Over to Daniel and Taylor on a pod date, and I guess this girl just came back from Coachella because I could barely understand her. She's like, these are the notes that I wrote about you. I said, mother of my children, love that. And that better be some honey tea with your raspy ass. Daniel says, yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. He proceeds to go on this long ass ramble about Christmas cards. I don't even know what he was talking about. I guess he decorates Christmas cards dressed up. I don't know what was going on, but I know we'll get back to that. Okay, then I don't know if I'm just going to show this clip, but that moment where they're making fun of Joey's accent was the funniest part of the whole season when, who was it, my boy Benji? Have you tried the Hey Dudes? What? All right, whatever. Over to Joey and Monica. They're talking about their love for the sound of music. We mentioned earlier that one of his sisters did pass away, and here he's telling Monica that she had cerebral palsy. He talks about going from homeschool to public school and how like football kind of saved his life and let the kids know that he was cool and like whatever they would accept him. He tells Monica he turned down some D1 offers so he can stay in his hometown and be closer to his younger sister, which is very nice. Again, over to Dave and Lauren on a pod date. Why is she wasting her time with this fool? I guess here is where she tells him that she has that FTP tattoo or fuck the patriarchy. This dude's already probably pissed off. He's like, what do you mean by that? Anyway, Dave tells her, and I quote, "You were never really low on my list, but today I was like, yeah, okay. Thank you, Shakespeare. Thank you." Okay, you know how Love is Blind soundtracks be annoyingly on the nose? This was the most egregious I've ever seen. Dave tells Lauren, this connection we have feels like I'm in the movies. The song goes, just like in the movie. Who's doing this? Dave's lying ass tells her that he wants to cancel all his next dates. But not only does he not cancel his next dates, he's in the pods with Molly asking her about her tattoos. Her non-boyfriend having ass is telling her she got an ass tattoo. He's like, where is it? She's like, it's on my ass, you fucking idiot. He's like, and I quote again, I like you, Molly. Ever since the beginning, I was like, Molly. Molly what? As the episode comes to the close, we're back in the women's quarters. And by the way, if you hear me say Dub Q, that stands for women's quarters, or MQ, men's quarters. That's just a little housekeeping. We're in Dub Q. Molly is talking to Madison. She's like, girl, Dave is my number one, but I don't want to talk about it so loud. Madison's like, yuck. Girl, trust me, you're fine. She's like, no, I'm not. He's got another connection here. Madison's like, with who? Molly's like, I think it's Sarah. Then freaking Lauren pulls up fresh out of her Dave pod date thinking it was all gravy. She's like, I'm not telling you who I was on a date with, but I will tell you that it went smooth. Madison's like, you don't want to say who? Lauren's like, girl, I've been watching Love is Blind since season 1. I ain't new to this. I'm fucking true to this. Molly's like, look, now that the people who my man is seeing know that I'm also seeing them, I don't mind saying it. Lauren's like, wait a minute. No, I don't know who you're talking about. Just tell me. Oh, it's Dave. I'm sorry, what? It's Dave. Oh, got it. You know that little dog that's on fire? Be like, this is fine. That's pretty much, Boom! Episode 2. This one's called Open Hearts, Open Minds, Can't Lose. And I don't know what the fuck that means, but it sounds boring. We start off with Daniel and Taylor, and she still got that raspy ass voice. She's like, did I tell you that my dad's name is also Daniel? Sadly, her dad was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, but they recently got some good news on that front, which is exactly what we want to hear. What we don't want to hear is that she got a Taco Bell tattoo on the inside of her lip. Daniel tells her, I will go out there and get one to match it, knowing damn well he probably already got it. If you know, you know. All right. I don't need to be jumping on it early, because we gon', finally some TV time for Natasha's old ass. She's talking to Sarah, and Sarah's like, look, as long as my guy's funny, we can go from there. Natasha's like, so what you're saying is you're more interested in who they are on the inside than physical appearance? Honestly, it's no wonder they ain't put you on TV. Thank you for that, Natasha. That'll be all. Anyway, don't forget that Sarah is the oncology nurse that earned the early immunity. Let's see if it still lasts as she goes on her first pod date with Ben. This is where they had that my dad could beat up your dad conversation, but it was about who could make the better steak. And they weren't competing about it, but they were like, my dad makes a good steak. No, my dad makes a good steak. I want my dad to try your dad's steak, and I want to try your dad's steak, and I want you to try my dad's steak. This is season 8. But then it gets serious. Ben says, I grew up in the church, but some stuff in the Bible I don't always agree with. Oh yeah? What kind of stuff, Ben? Sarah tells him she's not religious. She goes on to talk about how her sister is her best friend and she's gay. Ben's like, sister is gay. Okay? Sarah's like, that's why I can't get down with the church. They be talking about love thy neighbor, but LGBTQ is going to hell. She asks him, so would you be okay being around my sister who is gay? It's not funny. Ben says, I have no problem with that. She says, would you come to Pride with us? He goes, yeah, no problem at all. I'll have you know that some of my friends are that way. He said some of his friends are that way. Okay. He claims he doesn't like the word religion. He prefers the word faith. But he goes to church every week, so I have faith that this dude is just as religious as he sounds. Sarah's like, so would you want me to also go to church with you every week? He's like, well, yeah, ideally you would come with me. Sarah's like, damn. Quick water break over at Dub Q. Molly's still telling anyone who will listen that Dave is her number one. Lauren is slowly melting into slime. I swear, every season there's two nice women fighting over the most toxic dude in the whole cast. Back to the pods with Dave and Lauren. He tells Lauren you really changed my day. Then 5 seconds later tells her how awesome of a pod date he had with another woman. Lauren then tries to change the subject of other women that he's connecting with. She's looking around. She's like, so what do you do when you're cooking? You got a playlist or something? Dave's like, oh yeah, I got a playlist for everything. I even have a sex playlist. Brother, in case you missed it, all she asked you was what you do while you cook. Then unfortunately we have a Dave and Molly pod date. He's like, I love our natural chemistry. I feel like you've never had a bad day. Molly gets serious. She's like, shut up, nigga. Everyone has bad days. Now, you mentioned battling with your past of low integrity. Tell me about that. Did you murder someone? Well, Dave never really answers that question. I guess we'll wait for the folks at Reddit to get us closure. He just moves on to talking about his businesses. Dave says he feels that he can tell her anything, yet never opens up. But the truth finally comes out. He's like, all right, I cheated on my last girlfriend. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because he feels really bad and he'll never do it again. Molly says she doesn't judge people off their past. We all got a history. And of course, her non-boyfriend having ass has never cheated, but she has been the other woman. So nice little side quest there. Over to our safe, non-problematic, dare I say boring couple, Joey and Monica. Every season has one. They're talking about dancing. This is where she teaches them that move. She thinks it's life-changing. She's like, oh, no. You put your right hand across your stomach. And then you put your other hand up. And you wiggle around. Girl, that's the goddamn hokey pokey. Look, I don't know what's happening, but so far, this man, Joey, has no red flags. He ate the flower from Super Mario Brothers. Now, we've seen it before. When they don't have any red flags, it's because it was all scripted. Do we think we have another, dare I say, Trevor on our hands? Right now, my spidey senses are not tingling. Are y'all's tingling? Over to Alex and my main squeeze, Madison. She tells him she has a stuffed animal. It's a bear and an alien. She calls it a bearlian. That's because it's both. Over to her other connection with Mason. Here goes the AI summary. He's a morning person that can't read. Anyway, Madison is the homie, but I'll be remiss if I didn't mention how her feet look like she's about to turn into the Red Hulk from Captain America Brave New World. Moving on to Mason and Meg, the space cadet. You already know she's going straight Uncle Buck, asking a million more questions. Then they start talking about movies and she brings up the movie, what a pull. What a freaking pull. Over to Devin's date with Virginia. She asks him, how am I different from the other girls you've dated? And that's a good question. He's like, well, I usually date a lot of athletes. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that is different. He's like, no, because you're a dancer. And dancers are athletes too. And she's like, oh, I'm so happy you said that. And honestly, Devin, it's a great line. She tells him that she's used to dating self-centered creatives. And I quote, I've never dated a nice guy in my entire life. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Virginia, what are you talking about? You've never dated a nice guy. Oh, I hate to hear it. We're staying with Devin, but we're going to his other connection, Brittany. We find out that she didn't tell her dad she was going on this show. Imagine her dad don't watch Netflix, but he watched Taste Take and he's like, what the hell? Anyway, then we find out that her dad's name is Willie and his dad's name is Willie. This is like the 4th time this season. But with them, both of their Willies are juniors. They spend so much time on this, they had to figure out if they weren't brother and sister. Back over to Joey and Monica, which I thought was going to be another boring ass pod date. They're talking about how penguins don't be sliding. But out of the blue, we got a freaking proposal loading. Brother, it's episode 2. I'll tell you, there's always that couple that's just like, hey, let's go and get out of the way. I know some of y'all are like, Tate, did you know that they all get proposed to on the same day? Well, no, I didn't know that. It's episode 2. Whatever. Joey gets down on one knee and says, Monica, will you get engaged with me? Very unorthodox way of asking, Joey, but I wouldn't have it any other way. But now watch this. Anyone that knows anything about anything knows that if you watch Tate's Take talking about Love is Blind, one of my favorite parts is seeing the love that comes from the quarters, specifically the men's quarters, MQ, after a proposal or even a breakup. This man Joey's the first proposal, and Netflix doesn't even show the men's quarters. Look at this cut. What happened? You could tell they missed the whole thing, and they said, just walk in there, and we're going to have some audio of people saying, hey, Joey. Netflix. It's one thing if you're not going to bring the spice this season. I need the savory. Anyway, back to the pods. We're with Alex and my girl Madison, and damn, she got that shit on. Alex is like, I've been thinking about you. She's like, alone in the dark type thoughts? He's like, no. How do you handle conflict? He's like, do you yell? She's like, I physically can't yell. I just get extremely logical. A woman after my own heart. He tells her about his ex-girlfriend that was cheating on him while they lived together. Getting cheated on is bad enough, but the nigga eating her snacks too? Diabolical. Then she gets serious again. She's telling him how on her 12th birthday, her stepdad almost OD'd. So as a 12-year-old, she told her parents it's either the drugs or me. And they chose the drugs. Eesh. Stuff. They start talking about attachment styles. She says, oh, I'm avoidant attachment. He's like, uh-oh. This man Alex is moving real federal right now. Madison moves on to her other connection, pod date with Mason. They're doing the whole, what are you wearing thing. They're playing the get to know you card game. This is when Mason says, do you think I'm more creative or analytical? Yeah, you know, season 8. Anyway, let's not forget that 5 minutes ago, Madison was telling Alex that talking about sex was always taboo. But here she is, shaking her ass and telling Mason about her pierced nipples. Last 2 scenes here, we got a pod date. We're still with Mason, but now we're with Meg. A Halloween costume comes up again. She's like, oh, one of my favorite costumes was being Gwen Stefani. Okay, great. And since we're with Meg, of course, we got to talk about reincarnation and energies. And Meg is, of course, kind of flighty and kind of hipstery and Woodstocky, but she mentions here that she believes in energies and that how energies can't die. And I just want to point out, I think I like that part. Staying with reincarnation, she asks him, hey, what animal would you come back as? He's like, I don't know, a dolphin? She's like, I'll come back as a butterfly, but I'll fly over to the water just to say hello to you, which had no reason being that damn cute. But that wasn't enough. She walks out of the pod with that black scent, knowing that she's not his number one. Now we got our first reveal coming up, but you already know it's going to be a cliffhanger. This is Joey and Monica. Monica's like, oh, I just wonder what he's going to look like. Monica, out of everybody, you can hear what he looks like. Boom, episode 3. This one's called Hunger Games of Love. Of course, we are back where we left off. The Joey and Monica reveal. And you can't tell me she wasn't going to fire up that anime run. And I guess they like what they see. She says he looks like Tarzan, which, why didn't I think of that? I'm getting sloppy. I don't know. Look, these two are fresh off the laughing gas. I guess the dentist back in the quarters laced them. It just seems like it's going fine. And didn't I tell you that Joey was a walking green flag? Because then we find out that he's only growing his hair out so he can donate it. Jesus Lord, this man might be Jesus. He even asks for consent before going in for the first kiss. And would you look at that? She's wearing the matching wristband as a sign of solidarity. This might work. Over to Daniel and Taylor on a pod date, and it seems like she finally got her voice back from Ursula. She's telling him that being single for so long and seeing everyone around her find love, she thought maybe it's just not for me. He says, look, even if it's not with me, I guarantee you'll find it. Over to Ben and Sarah on a pod date. He's like, look, let me bring something up and I want to be really clear. I don't care that your sister's gay. I just want to reiterate that. And good on him for bringing it up, because some people will be running from the smoke and Ben's like, no, I got this. They take a break from the serious stuff and she's like, look, what activity do you miss from your childhood that you don't do today? That's a great question. He's like, honestly, sitting around watching Price is Right, eating Eggos. Bro, is you me? Oh my, that would have been my answer, bro. Like a sick day from elementary school, you get to stay home with your granny, watching Price is Right and the soap operas, eating a box of Eggos. Life like that sure was sweet. Over to an Alex and Madison pod date. she left him the Berlian. This girl's playing hardball. I ain't gonna hold you. This Cold War between Alex and Mason might really go 12 rounds. I can't call it right now. And speaking of Mason, that's where we go next. To his pod date with Madison. He's telling her how bad he was in school, which then brings us this masterclass in white privilege. He tells us that he barely passed high school, did terrible on the ACT, but got into USC. Then, after finishing USC, got his dream job right out of college. You know, it's a really good thing that they're doing away with all these DEI programs, because now we can get the people who really deserve the spots. Like, we could really get them in place. Anyway, we stay with Mason, but now with Meg. Meg's like, I already feel the energy has shifted. And if anybody could feel the energy shift, that would be Meg. He tells her, I haven't connected with anyone like I've connected with you. But he knows the connection is slipping. He has to create a diversion. He's like, have you heard of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth? Now, I thought he was talking about the ones from Sonic 2, but apparently these are some alien tablets found in the pyramids. Anyway, Meg's like, go on. Meg, that was honestly too easy. You gotta be stronger than that. Then over to your friend Dave and Lauren on a pod date. Also, why hasn't Alex gone on a pod date with Lauren? Couldn't that just work? And then you get Alex and Lauren, then you get Mason and Madison. What? Why? Because what's actually happening is that Dave is literally calling her an old bitch because she's 30. Then Dave's on a pod date with Molly. She's like, look, sometimes I work late, sometimes I dance late, I might not get home until 9:30. Dave's like, oh, that sounds spectacular. I hate to be the only form of entertainment for my wife. Then he asks her about religion and politics. Okay, get serious. She says growing up, her parents were never in the same political party, which I will never understand. Maybe back then, but today, that shit is like marrying someone from a different species. Like, ma'am, did you know your husband was a crocodile? Oh, yes, of course, but we don't talk about that stuff at home, and we definitely won't let it divide us. Season 8, am I right? With the crocodile. What are you talking about? Okay, pay attention. This is Dave's take on politics. He says, you know, because I can see both sides. It's not funny. I can see both sides. He's like, look, I can see the Republican side. I want less taxes, and I want less government. Less taxes for who? Then he talks about where he disagrees with Republicans. Naturally, around Smushmortians. He's like, yeah, I think women should have that choice. Weren't you saying something about less government? Seems a little strange. He's like, yeah, what if the mother was, or if her life's in jeopardy? Dave, what about if she just wanted one? All right. Then he says, and this is really important, he says, on the liberal side, they just have better hearts and they want to love everyone. Let this be a lesson of what happened here today. Then he goes on to talk about how he hates that they added political affiliation to dating apps, which is also the most Republican thing you can say. Why would you be ashamed to show your political affiliation? Is it something you're not proud of? And if you're worried that someone is not going to date you because of your political beliefs shown on a dating app, you probably wouldn't want to date them anyway. And look, I know there's going to be people out there that say, Tate, not everyone pays attention to politics. Not everyone cares about politics. And I guess that's a good point, to which I would say,
I don't give a fuck.
You might not care about politics, but trust me, politics cares about you. You can ignore it all you want, but it affects us all. What was I even talking about? Oh, Dave and Molly. Then she asked him, hey, what would you do if our kid came out as LGBTQ? Dave said I would kick that kid out the house and pray for his or her sins. Fuck them. Get it how I said fuck them? Because he'll never recognize they, them pronouns, but it's also like, fuck them kids. Get it? I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. But he was thinking it. Okay, back over at Dub Q. These girls make a whites only fort, but Lauren ain't fucking with it because Molly's in there throwing off the vibe. But look how they got my girl Lauren. Netflix. What are y'all doing? That's not right. Anyway, Lauren takes her dump truck and gets out of there. Then we're back in the pods with Devin and Virginia. She's telling him about her 5-year vision of her pregnant at the park with a baby on her hip. Devin's like, yeah, those hypothetical babies sound good and all, but I'm gonna need you to open up some more. He thinks she's holding back. quick scene with him and Brittany. I don't know what else happened in this scene, but I wrote down something about his adopted siblings and his old ass middle his old ass middle name. Back with Alex and Madison on a pod date. She's telling him she's getting a little bit more clarity. Now, she's being honest that she does have another connection with another dude, but she doesn't know if it's going anywhere. And when she hears about his other connections with the other girl, she doesn't really care. I guess Madison asks Alex, if aliens came down, what's the first thing you would tell them? There's a lot of alien talk in this season. Is there another Area 51 in Minnesota? Anyway, he's like, I would just hug him and say, I love him. Madison's like, fuck all that. I'm going to give him a Diet Coke and a McChicken. This season's questions are so random. I don't even know what I would tell an alien first. Well, I'm going to say like, comment, subscribe, and get you a Tate's Take shirt. I mean, I guess you should get a Tate's Take hoodie, so you can cover up that, you know, that headpiece. I don't know if Tate's Take hoodies will cover up a dome piece like aliens will have, but it's worth a shot, so you can blend in. Season 8. Anyway, then Madison talks about times where she's just not feeling herself. She feels like a robot, like she's having an out-of-body experience. Alex was like, what the hell? Well, please let me know how I can help you in these high-stress situations. Madison's like, you can't. Alex was like, God damn, this girl got baggage. She tells him, look, there's a lot of girls out there that have been through a lot less than me. Alex is like, who are you telling? She's like, so I would understand if you want to leave and be with one of them. Then we got a pod date with Mason and Meg, and she's apparently in there with the spider from Home Alone 1. She asks Mason, hey, when we go on our romantic getaway, would you by any chance want to smash? He's like, yeah, would you? She's like, bro, I haven't smashed since 2022. Yes. Last scene of the episode here, we're with Mason and Madison in a pod date. He's like, man, the guys are so hush-hush over here. It is crazy. She's like, oh, not a dub Q, because we are spilling tea every goddamn where. I guess Madison is here telling him, just so you know, your other connection only has you. And I don't know if I should be taking this into consideration, but I would feel bad if I was Meg, that I was someone's second choice. So I don't know if we could really work out. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't said, oh my golly Wally, this whole entire video. And I don't know if I want to say it now. I don't think it's worthy. And I would hate to diminish the value of a oh my golly Wally. But it just kind of seemed that she was closing the door on Mason a little prematurely. Mason says he's not throwing away this connection. Boom! Episode 4. This one's called So Your Girlfriend Has a Boyfriend? Honestly, I can't even address this opening conversation about celebrity run-ins. So as far as I'm concerned, this episode starts in the pods with Ben and Sarah. And he's like, girl, I love you. I want you to be my girl. Right after she finished telling him that she would not run through a wall for him. She's like, before we get into all that boyfriend and girlfriend stuff, let's talk about something real sexy. Politics. You see these Trump supporters try to lock you in with the L word before revealing their true identity. Just kidding. Anyway, she says she got into politics after Trump took office the first time and after George Floyd was murdered. Unfortunately, he says, yeah, I'm kind of ignorant to that stuff. I didn't even vote in the last election. Ugh. Also, why isn't voting mandatory? Sarah's like, oh my God, Ben, you are killing me. But let's get married. Okay. She's out here trying to teach these kids. She's like, okay, Ben, George Floyd, do you know all that happened in Minnesota? What are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter? He's like, I don't know. I'm not one way or another. Oh, must be nice. Anyway, Ben's like, no, because what happened to George Floyd wasn't right. I don't know much about it, but I did have one of his grills in undergrad, and that shit saved me a bunch of times. Sarah's like, that's George Foreman, you idiot. Okay. That didn't happen. Golly, you guys never let me have any fun. I'm trying to spice this thing up. Anyway, Sarah's like, Ben, I don't like these answers. Ben's like, so does that mean you'll marry me? Sarah's like, bro, I need someone on the same page as me when it comes to human rights issues. And not to beat a dead horse, which would be an animal rights violation. For someone who goes to church every week in your community, but actively choosing not to engage in what's happening in your community, you know? Anyway, what happens next, I would not believe if I didn't see it with my own two eyes. This man, Ben, goes back into MQ, telling everyone that he has a girlfriend. He just said that, but she didn't. Maybe I missed it. Sarah's back at WQ talking to Virginia. She's like, girl, you get it? You're black, right? Okay. She's basically just telling Virginia, like, Ben is so anti-woke, he's almost literally in hibernation. Virginia's like, well, do you think he can evolve into what you want him to be? She's like, I don't know, probably. Then we're with Mason and Madison on a pod date. Well, he's on a pod date. She is somewhere else. He comes in talking in circles. Madison's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He's like, let me be more clear. I'm committed to you. Madison makes the same face that Mrs. McAllister makes when she realizes they forgot Kevin again. Madison's like, well, I'm happy to hear that. I hope you don't feel like you were pressured to say that. Then I guess the clock struck 12 because then the freaks came out. Madison's like, so what are we eating? I don't usually like savory unless it's a cream pie. Oh, do you like cream pies? She goes, yeah, I love cream pies. He's like, well, that's good. All right. He's like, so what were you like in high school? I know you told me you were big into astrology. No, you moron. Astronomy. Then she tells him how she won state in Bible quiz. This must be so confusing for Mason. He's like, this girl knows everything about the scripture, but she's this horny? Jesus freak. It's also crazy that she talks to Mason about sex and then Alex about trauma. Like, Alex is not getting the full experience. But also, maybe he don't want it. But Mason don't even got time to cool off because then he's on a pod date with Meg. Meg's like, so what do you think about us? He's like, hold on, got a Pop-Tart. She asks him, what's your definition of love? He's like, let me think. Okay, it's kind of like I have this big-ass container of ice cream, but I give my partner the best scoop. This girl, Meg, can't control herself hearing this level of poetry. She's like, oh, you got my butt tinkling, boy. Anyway, now we're back at WQ, and this is a quick little mini rant. Every time Meg has a good pod date, she comes beaming into the WQ, smiling from ear to ear, telling everyone, we're all getting engaged. I can see it for... No. This is like narcissist behavior. This is like when you have a nice day, it doesn't mean everyone had a nice day. Read the room. It's one thing if everyone had already gotten engaged and she was the last one and she's like, oh, because I had a good pod date, there's a better chance that we're all getting engaged. No. Just because you had a good ass day doesn't mean everyone did. Like, man, Meg, that seems to be so tapped into like the spirits and the energies, sure is not reading the one in that room. Anyway, Madison hearing all this about that connection is just making her like Mason less, but she don't even really like the guy in the first place. But we're staying with Madison because now she got a pod date with Alex. This dude left her some carrots and grapes like she's a gerbil, but she's looking at that shit like it was a PS5. She asked him, have you ever been in love? He's like, yeah, of course. He's like, how about you? She's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. It wouldn't be an Alex and Madison pod date if she ain't, give him some level of anxiety. Anyway, she tells him that her other connection feels more like a friend vibe. Like a friend that you would want to cream pie you, but you know what I mean? Like a friend. She's basically telling Alex, is this something that you can see working? He's like, I don't know yet. Nah. Alex, you are a fool. But he snaps out of it for a second and asks her to be his girlfriend. Wow, look at you, Alex. I didn't think you can do it. She's like, okay, yes, I'll be your girlfriend. But now I got to break up with someone. He's like, oh, yeah. Now will you finally tell me who your other connections are? She's like, yes, I will. Will you tell me yours? He's like, yeah, it was Sarah, Monica, and Meg. She's like, God damn, this bitch Meg's really on my ass. Okay, whatever. So after she closes the rings on her Apple Watch, she goes back in and tells the girls. Alex goes back to MQ to tell the boys the good news. Look at this man Mason literally toasting to his own breakup. It's diabolical. You thought that was bad? Look at Meg. Meg is literally, she's breaking up with my man. Now I get the scraps. Back in MQ, Devin is talking to Alex. Alex is like, bro, I finally realized that my number one other connection was Mason. Devin's like, what? He's like, yeah, bro, it's crazy. Devin's like, chill. He's coming right now. Mason comes through for the hug. He's like, man, I'm so happy for you. You're my boy. I love you, man. Devin is like, this is like straight out of a TV show. Devin, I don't know if anyone has told you, but this is a TV show. Speaking of Devin, we're back with him in the pods with Brittany. He tells her, look, if I didn't feel the connection, I would have told you already. Now he's about to get serious. He talks about the injury he sustained playing basketball growing up. He fell down and hurt his back, led to his addiction to painkillers. He said nothing was helping. He was up to taking 20 ibuprofens a day. My boy, I couldn't even take 20 M&Ms. Sorry. He said he turned to God, and God led him to check in on one more doctor. That doctor said, what the hell? Son, your femur bones are rubbing against your pelvic bones. We're going to have to do double hip surgery, which is usually reserved for old niggas, but I'm doing it for you right now. Devin says, if I didn't put my trust in God, things wouldn't have turned out the way they are today, where I'm still able to coach. And also, if you didn't put your faith in that doctor who performed double hip surgery on you, I don't think, it doesn't matter who gets the credit. The point is, now he can play basketball again. Hallelujah. But now Brittany's crying with him. She feels the story. She's like, honestly, you had to go through that to be the man you are today. Nice job, Brittany. She's like, okay, well, since we exposing secrets, let me just tell you mine. He's like, huh? She says, a while back, I realized there was things about my sexuality that I wasn't sure about. She tells him, I've had experiences with women. I just couldn't see myself being with one. And I don't know anything about anything, but it sounds like you could be with a woman, but you're just ashamed to do that publicly. Devin's like, damn, Brittany. Okay, so it was just the one experience? Brittany's like, no, it was not just the one experience. And let me tell you, once I started eating them, there's sometimes I don't have to add that. Like some things you don't need to, I just be adding it at the wrong moments. Devin's like, God damn. But what you're saying is you can't see yourself being with a woman. She's like, no, absolutely not. Which again, I think is just the pressures of social norms. It's kind of like me as a young lad in Shirley Temples. I grew up on Sprite. I thought I loved Sprite. I didn't know there was an alternative to Sprite. Until one fateful day, a nice lady at Fridays offered me a Shirley Temple. Oh man, that cherry Sprite goodness, you couldn't tell me nothing. Until one day I ordered that and my buddy said, what the heck? Who orders a Shirley Temple? That's so cheesy. I said, oh, you thought I ordered a Shirley Temple? No, I said, I have a flirty mental. I'm always thinking about flirting. And from that day on, if someone came to me and said, you think you could ever see yourself ordering a Shirley Temple? I would say, no, absolutely not. Now, was that story nonsense? Yes. But the moral is I had to get a lot older to then be okay just ordering whatever the fuck I wanted to drink. I don't think Brittany is so against being with a woman. She just doesn't want to have to answer to that, Back to Devin. He's like, so do you still have feelings for women? I said, Devin, please don't do the thing. But of course, he does the thing. She's like, yeah, I have feelings for women, but when I'm with you, I'm with you. Devin says, okay, that makes me feel better that if we're together, you're only worried about me. See, guys do this all the time. They find out that a girl maybe used to be interested or is also interested in women, and they feel like that's an increased cheating threat. You don't think that a woman who's not attracted to women is going to think other guys are attractive? What is the difference? Whatever. He says he's never been with a woman who's also been with women, but he still has feelings for her. Let me tell you something. This thing is over. Congratulations, Virginia. You have officially won the Devin sweepstakes. And speaking of Virginia, that's his next pod date. Look at your boy Devin with his black Nike socks. And what does that bring us? The Minnesota uniform of black, brown, and blue. Anyway, he's like, we got to get real, girl, because I feel like I don't even know you. And honestly, I don't even know what Virginia be talking about most of the time. Virginia's like, I'm just kind of shy. Devin's like, what the hell? Girl, I got to propose to you in 2 episodes. This ain't Hinge. And she still didn't really say much, just that she dated the worst type of people. He's about to tell her the injury story and how that injury made him turn away from God. But then when he was at his lowest point, turned back to God, which also tracks. She cries with him, which is what I was looking for because Brittany gave him a nice good cry. Virginia says she wants someone that she can pray with, and Devin likes that. He also likes the fact that she's never been with a woman. Over to the forgotten couple, Daniel and Taylor, and honestly, this whole scene will be pointless to the average viewer, But this is why you come to Taste Take. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. This is when she tells him, hey, sorry, but like sometimes I just be repeating the same story over and over. I don't know what I told you or what I didn't tell you. And I get that from my mom. And I used to give her a hard time about repeating the stuff over and over. But sometimes I think I won't always have my mom around. So just let her tell the stupid story. And that's like a real simple scene, but it's like that's like a testimony. Like the things that the people in our lives do that maybe are a little annoying but are harmless. When they're gone, you gonna pray to be annoyed in that way. And that's all I want to say about that part. That's it. Anyway, then Daniel's like, girl, I already know your mom be telling stories over and over. She's like, huh? He's like, huh? Okay, whatever. He says, look, if you ever want to talk about something or vent about something, or if you even have to like leave the show and not tell me, like, it's all good, I'll find you. And that was a nice moment by Daniel. We was all like, damn, Daniel, back at it again with the white vans. But watch this. He's like, I wonder if we ever cross paths. He's like, nah, I don't know. That was stupid. She tells him, Daniel, this has been great. I don't have one single reservation about you. He's like, excellent. I've been studying for weeks. She's like, huh? He's like, huh? Next pod date, we're with Dave and Molly, and surprise, surprise, I hate all of it. He's telling her how he asked the other girls the what's wrong with you question, and she's like, oh, well, you're just being funny. He's like, did I ask you that? She's like, no, thank God, you freaking idiot. Then he says, maybe this is TMI, but my right testicle is throbbing. Well, there goes my ad monetization. Back to work on Monday I go. Then he asks her, hey, what kind of ring do you want? Silver or gold? She's like, oh, I've never thought about that. He's like, I just don't want to be with a woman who needs some flashy ring like, hey, look at me. And honestly, I bet you do. Anyway, last couple confusing scenes of the episode. Molly comes back to Dub Q talking about her date. Naturally, Lauren has to run away looking for shelter. Now here's the confusing part. Well, the first part's not confusing. Molly tells Sarah, like, look, I figured it out. I'm an idiot. The other girl that Dave's been canoodling is Lauren. Oh, man. Then she tells Sarah, this is where I'm confused. Then she tells Sarah that Dave said he's going to end it with her. Did he say that? And if he did, oh. But if he didn't, yikes. We about to find out, because next up, we got a pod date with David and Lauren. Shit is mad tense already. She tells him that Molly said that he said that she was his number one connection. Lauren says, number one, is that true, you bitch ass nigga? And number two, if it is, I don't need to be here. Dave Portnoy over here says, I don't want to get caught up in all this girl drama. Is anyone gonna tell him that he created it? Boom! Episode 5. This one's called Breaking Up is Hard to Do. Unfortunately, we are still with Dave and Lauren in the pods. Lauren's like, bro, can I be honest with you? He's like, yes, please. I've been waiting on this. She's like, I'm only here for you. He's like, Jesus Christ, it's going to go no risk. Well, I never told Molly that she was my number one. Now I had to rewind this next part to make sure I really heard what I really heard. Lauren says, if you didn't tell her that she's your number one, then just pick me. Lauren, you are way too smart, way too nice, and with a low-key dump truck to be wasting your time with this idiot. Back at Dub Q, Molly's still on the campaign trail. She's telling everyone that Dave told her that he's going to end it with Lauren. When did he say that? Meanwhile, Lauren comes back from the same pod date that she's supposed to be getting broken up with, smiling ear to ear. Got Molly tweaking. My girl Madison comes through like the voice of reason that she is. She's like, look, you idiots. I think he's playing you. Someone had to freaking say it. Over to Devin and Brittany on their pod date. And I don't know how to put this, but it's a good thing this is Love is Blind, because with this current outfit, she's not beating the allegations. Sorry. She tells him she's sad because he's her number one and Virginia's her number two. Okay. She didn't say that, but she was thinking it. But on a serious note, she wishes that he reacted differently when she confided in him about her sexuality. We all do, Queen. But it got a little heavier. She says he's just a little rigid and they're not each other's person. Ooh, she's out of there. Man, you hate to see it, but it had to happen. This one needs to happen more often. Like, just be clear. Like, y'all not for each other. It's okay. She tells him, look, I know you got another connection, and I know who she is. Trust me, she's the truth. So go ahead and lock that down. or else I will be eating that thing. We're almost done. And speaking of Virginia, we got another pod date with her and Devin. This is when we do their gift exchange. She got him a camera, a passport holder, and her grandma's ring. Holy moly, playing hardball. It's like a reminder of her grandparents' love for each other. She's like, I done been around some bad relationships, but my grandparents' love, oh yeah, that's the real love. He sent her flowers. I'm just kidding. He got her a nice list of things. I have no real red flags with Devin, except the whole like bisexual Britney thing, but whatever. That's probably a testament to his environment. He seems like a nice dude, like, and it could work out. I feel like I know less about Virginia. So if anything doesn't work out, it might be on her side, but I think he's doing what he needs to do. I just feel like we know almost nothing about her, but we'll be monitoring that situation closely. Over to Ben and Sarah on their pod date. Forgot about these two opposites. I truly don't know what they were talking about, but she tells him, yeah, this is it. This feels like destiny. We came a long way. She loves their connection, but just really quick, just for a second, a little itty bitty tiny little minute, just wants to double back on the social causes because these things are really important to her. He's like, girl, chill out. What you're not going to have to do is teach me. I care about this stuff. You have my word. Don't you even think about teaching me about social justice. I'm going to learn on my own. And you know, maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe him. There's a difference between someone like Ben and someone like Dave. Like, should Ben know all these things? Yes, at his age, of course. But he's just unevolved. It just seemed like he grew up in a very sheltered, religious environment. But it also seems like he's willing to fuck around and find out. So anyway, he gets down on one knee and proposes to that thing. And naturally, she says yes. He goes back to MQ and gets some mediocre love. She goes back to WQ and gets some, I guess, average love. I'm telling you, there's something off about the love in MQ and WQ this season. And I'm going to get down to the bottom of it. I'm opening up an investigation. Anyway, staying in MQ, we got a quick little scene with Devin and Dave. He's asking about the connection. He's like, because Molly was your number one, right? He's like, I don't know. Then all of a sudden, Dave starts fake crying about his sister not giving her approval. Good thing we got Joey to come around flossing and giving that side hug. Then you got fucking Brad down there changing the pipes. Brad, if you don't go on a pod date. Then we got this weird ass scene over at WQ with Lauren talking to some blurred out face. Is that Natasha's old ass? Like, did she change her mind about being on the show? Anyway, Lauren's telling this NPC, I don't know. I think Dave might be playing me. Like, I don't think I'm dumb. But could I be? You know I already hate this, but we're over with Dave and Molly on a pod date. He tells her, I've been crying for the past hour, but he's lying. She's like, okay, bro, shut your crying ass up. I just don't want to force you into a decision. He's like, I just haven't cried like this in so long, and you still haven't. Molly's about to hold his hand through this whole scene. Watch closely this masterclass in gentle parenting. She's like, Dave, do you think you and Lauren have a better connection? Dave's like, well, I think so. Molly's like, so yeah, dummy, I think you just made your decision. Then watch this preteen Dave. He's like, how are you so cool about this? She's like, bitch, I'm not cool. I just want someone to choose me. She's like, tell me in your ideal world, what happens? Because I feel like you should end it with me. This guy Dave has the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to say, I thought I just did. Molly's like, I know you fucking lying. Molly takes her shit and goes back to WQ to talk to Lauren. She's like, Lauren, you think I can talk to you for a second? Lauren's like, yeah, what's up? Molly is now crying. Dave, this is what it looks like in case you want to tune in at this part right here. Molly apologizes for being loud about Dave. She had no idea Lauren was the other woman. And maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe her too. Lauren's there trying to fight off a smile. You know when your mom's trying to ground you, but she messes up one of the words and you're trying not to laugh because you know it'll increase the sentence? Anyway, Lauren's like, it's okay, girl. I know you wouldn't do that on purpose, but catch me up. Did Dave go home? Molly's like, no, he didn't go home. He wants to pursue things with you. Lauren's like, thank God. I mean, was he manipulating us? Man, you hate to see it, because in a perfect world, they both would have left his ass. But we know the world ain't perfect, because Trump won the election, and the Lakers got Luka Doncic for $20 and a Whopper Jr. Back in the pods with Dave and Lauren. Literally, get me out of here. She's like, how are you? He's like, I had a moment. I was crying. No, you weren't. He's like, I just feel like you're so genuine. And she's like, yeah, you're the same, Lauren. Just because this man lies to you doesn't mean you should lie to him. David again brings up his sister and being worried that he won't have her approval. Listen, this was my last straw. At that point, I had to know who his sister was because it makes no sense why he's so scared of her. So for you guys, I took the liberty of doing some social media stalking, and I actually found Dave's real sister. No. Like, for you guys. This is what I do for Taste Take. Remember in the beginning I said we got good news? I said good news number one, I'm gonna try extra hard. Okay, it all makes a little more sense now. Look at the video I found of Dave's sister.
And let's hear it for the East German team.
Okay. I don't think that was Dave's sister, but I'm also not sure. Season 8. Get me out of here, but where does that take me? To the Daniel and Taylor gift exchange. He gives her that D. Well, it's the Christmas stocking, you little pervs. Ugh. He's like, oh, I wanted you to have this so that one day you could get the T of the same stocking. These are from Target, by the way. She says, oh my God, I literally have this stocking with the T on it. Daniel's like, no way. What a crazy coinky dink. How could we have the same stocking? We should totally get married. Her gift for him is also a Christmas thing. It's like a family ornament. This dude sees that ornament. He's ready to bust through that wall. Listen, I thought I liked Christmas. This dude is literally Elf. They start talking about their biggest insecurities. Of course, it's Daniel. We're going to talk about how you can see his feet fucking dangling off the couch right now. He's like, yeah, just something that I think about. She says hers is her body and the pressures of looking a certain way. Daniel's like, don't worry, babe. You look great. She's like, huh? He's like, huh? Then Taylor's like, yeah, my ex would never post me, but he was following all these Instagram hotties. Daniel's like, wait a minute. What's your Instagram name? She's like, huh? Why would anyone ask that on Love is Blind? Even Taylor's like, wait, do you follow me? What is going on with these two? We're monitoring that situation closely, but right now, we're going over to the Sarah and Ben reveal. They're both hot, so it should be no problems. This man did a full-on sprint. That's how you know love ain't blind. Like, it's not. Anyway, Ben gets down on one knee and proposes. Also, side note, the way that the people of Minnesota have an affinity for Chelsea boots, just let me know. If I ever decide to visit your great state, am I even allowed to go there without Chelsea boots? Back to Sarah, this girl is literally breaking out in hives. So I guess she's into this. And if I'm being honest, this dude might not know who the vice president is, but this for sure is in the running for being one of the best reveals in Love is Blind history. I can't even hate on this. Then you can see from my face where we're going next. A pod date with Dave and Lauren. But at least it's Valentine's Day, so that is very cute and very timely. He's about to propose and does. She says yes. Fortunately or unfortunately, these two will never get married. Dave goes back to MQ and gets some mediocre love. Lauren goes back to WQ and gets some slightly above mediocre love. Over to Mason and Madison in the pods. Oh my golly, what? This dude left her a cream pie. Ugh. A sex joke 12 minutes before you're about to get broken up with. Tough watch. Tough watch. Madison's like, yeah, I don't know if you heard the news. The news? Bro, fucking Mason's like, listen, call me Ben because I don't know nothing about the news. Madison's like, so I was just basically able to get there faster with someone else. So you can go ahead and take this cream pie and try to give it to Meg. Also, who's gonna eat all this breakfast? She tells him, I feel like you tell me and Meg the same thing. You try to have two good things, and in the end, you might leave with neither. Tough watch here. And the lowest moment for Madison of the whole season, in my humble opinion, is when she goes back to WQ. She goes, breakups taste good. He was just a little bit of a clown. Oh, God, you don't gotta drag it, girl. Meg's there like, eek, that's my man. Mason goes back to MQ. He's like, it's over, boys. Freaking Alex, of course, he's a fucking Boy Scout. He's like, Mason, is everything all right? Come on, let's hug it out. He really wants the tea, but also he actually is being nice. Mason is like, my number 2 got with my number 1. And they were talking. Brother, it's almost episode 6. Can we start using some names? Over at WQ, Madison is sitting with the homie. She's like, yeah, so I told him, bitch, you had 2 things and you might fuck around and lose both of them. Freaking Meg is like, girl, no, you said that? Great call out, Meg. That shit was funny. But here, check out the crew. Monica is all the way here for it. Sarah is like, damn, this bitch is cold. And freaking Virginia's like, this is white people's business. As the episode comes to a close, we got a pod date with Mason and Meg. Meg's like, oh, we got some shit to talk about, huh? He said, yeah. I had some feelings for someone. I said them out loud, but I shouldn't have said them. I said them at the wrong time because I really didn't have all the feelings all the right way. He basically, this is what he did. It's a coin toss, and he picked heads. It landed on tails, and he's like, I shouldn't have picked heads. Heads didn't feel right. It's too late, bro. No one's going to believe you. He tells her, Meg, it was always you. Next to your name, you know what I wrote down? Next to a weird-ass alien bitch, I wrote down 10 out of 10. You were the only one to get a 10 out of 10. Boom! Episode 6. And this one's called Do I Know You? And I think we know why it's called that. Last episode here, we're doing so good. We're back with Mason and Meg. He tells her, you've been my number one since the beginning. She says, well, I wasn't yesterday. Beesh. She's like, look, bro, I like your words. They smooth. But I'm not going to be able to get past this. You know how many times in Love is Blind history do like the second choice women, they just go with it. They're just like, oh, fuck it, I'll be second place. I respect Meg for standing on business. He tells her, I understand. I can't imagine what it must feel like to be number 2. Mason, you sure you don't? Okay. Meg is literally leaving the show. Madison for sure put a spell on this dude because he really ended up with nothing. That well. Over to Daniel and Taylor, I guess is where he's going to propose. They wrote each other letters. Hers not even done yet, but shit was better than his. I know it's not a competition, but hers was better. Whatever. He gets down on one knee, proposes. She says yes. And again, Netflix makes the conscious decision to not show the love at MQ. Something's going on. Y'all got the nerve to increase prices and take away quality content? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep paying for Netflix because, you know, but I'm going to write a very sternly worded letter to the White Star Line Company. Anyway, now to the saddest part of the episode. This is the Dave and Lauren reveal. Oh, God. And damn it, Dave, you are annoying, but you got that shit on. See? I'm fair. She's telling us how she feels self-conscious because Dave said he normally dates only hot people. Like, Lauren, listen to what you're even saying to yourself. Like, listen. Anyway, the reveal is okay. He gets down on one knee and gives the ring. Dude doesn't even crease his shoes. How does this nigga know? She asks him, how do you feel? He says, I don't know. You could have literally said anything else, and been better off. Then look at this nigga's juicy ass lips. She's like, oh, I think I got some lip gloss on you. No, girl, he brought that himself. He came pre-ordered. Just a strange reveal. This will not work out, but I know y'all don't listen to me anyway. Over to Devin and Virginia, and this dude better hurry up and propose, because it's the last episode. And I guess someone does listen to me, because he gets down on one knee, reads some message, and proposes. She says, yes, I would marry you, Devin. Thank you. Devin gets a little bit of love from MQ, but Virginia is the only woman where they don't show any love from Dub Q. Now, by my calculations, that could be racist, because I think it's still Black History Month. Then here I was thinking we were on our way to Mexico, but we still got more people. Oh my, we're with Alex and Madison in the pods. I forgot about these two. Golly. They do their gift exchange. She gave him a rock in honor of her brother. Super freaking nice. He gets her a book that his grandma made. It's like her original art. Like, you ended up matching with an artist and had a book of Guatemalan art from your grandma. What a freaking pull. All for not, but what a fucking pull. I'm thinking this dude, Alex, has it in the bag. But no. Because for some reason, he wants to talk about Mason. Alex says, man, I feel bad for him. Madison says, well, that makes one of us. Alex says, let's be nice. Let's just be nice. Listen, y'all, listen up real close. This might be a boring couple episodes of Love is Blind, but there are some nuggets here. And this is one of them. To all the students and anthropologists of the future watching this for clues on how humans lived, this right here is a masterclass in bag fumbling. What you're about to see, you can't get this stuff out in the wild. This is the truth. This is pure. Honestly, though, you guys want to know what I really think? Just between us, I don't think Alex is real. I know. I think Jeff Bezos reached out to the folks at Netflix, and he's like, hey, we're developing our own companion robots. And I think this season of Love is Blind in Minneapolis will be perfect because no one will be able to tell the difference. We want to know if humans and robots can fall in love. And I think we have the perfect one. Then Netflix is like, let me think. Now, this is unorthodox, but we are losing subscribers. And this could be the jolt that we need to get back on top. Netflix says, let's do it. And let me guess. You call her Alexa. Jeff Bezos is like, no. We call him Alex. This is what I think. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. This dude, Alex, is going harder for Mason than Madison. Alex says out loud, well, I'm only getting one side of the story, and it's his side. Brother, she's telling you her side right now. Look at this nigga downloading the new firmware. Then he says, I'm just an understanding person. Only a fool would take the side of a man he barely knows over the woman he plans to marry. Madison's like, okay, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Alex is like, yeah, I totally understand that. But I could just see his side of it.
Bitch, you better be joking.
All right, now Alex is finally trying to change the subject. He's like, okay, picture this. It's 20 years from now. It's Christmas morning. And then all of a sudden, boom, Daniel busts through the door. He goes, somebody say Christmas? Okay. Just kidding. Season 8. Madison's like, bro, I don't want to hear about the future. And watch this. Even after all that bag fumbling, he's still not out the game. Alex is caught up in his concerns about their communication, but she's trying to tell him, hey, bro, relationships aren't perfect. This man, Alex, says, we're not at a point to get engaged. Jesus Christ. She gives him a 15th chance. She's like, is that your final answer? And he's like, I think so. Also, I know this isn't the time nor the place, but do those blankets remind anyone else of that gold dress, blue dress challenge? Anyway, even Netflix knows this was an all-time bag fumble. So they bring out their big-ass checkbook so the American national anthem can play Madison out the pots. Yep, Miley Cyrus's I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball, and we needed it. Now look, her and Mason both leaving alone. Okay, deep breath, we're almost there. We are over to the Devin and Virginia reveal. And it all goes fine. Like, congrats, bro, you hit the freaking jackpot. Listen, I dare y'all to rewind this reveal and count how many times Virginia says thank you. No, just count it and put it in the comments. Anyone brave enough to do it. She tells him she likes his blazer, but she's lying. And that's pretty much the only notes I had for that reveal. It was very non-problematic. It's only one black couple this season, but at least Devin doesn't have any secret kids with a lesbian. At least we can hope. Now it's time for the main event. This is the Daniel and Taylor reveal. I guess this is what all the previews been hitting at. Wouldn't be a Daniel scene if he didn't talk about how short he was. And Taylor's dress is a choice.
What is that, velvet?
The doors open up. Daniel's like, yep, just how I drew it up. Honestly don't know what else happened here. She's trying to rush him to the bench. He's like, hey, I didn't even give you the ring, girl. In true romance fashion, she tells him, the first place I sweat is my upper lip. Delicious. They run for the champagne. This dweeb doesn't even get the is the sky blue joke, but honestly, she's just trying to get the fuck out of there and get some alcohol on the way. And of course, she tells us that he's a little shorter than she's used to. Please do not let this man hear that. Of course, I will be remiss if I didn't mention that he's wearing the socks that she bought him, which does indeed make his outfit, you guessed it, black, brown, and blue. And I must say, I'm writing this down. I said, she got kind of weird with him at the end there. Insert the Netflix dramatic music. Screen says 24 hours later. Taylor looks like she got off a reality dating show and jumped into a true crime doc. She says when those doors opened up, Daniel seemed familiar. She thinks back to when she got an Instagram follow request. She says, I remember a very small man. Couldn't be taller than 4'8" or 4'9". I don't know if I have to add stuff. It's already fine. Anyway, she said he was sitting down with his legs crossed in front of a Christmas tree, holding a drink. She thinks he knew how she looked the entire time. Then Alex pulls up out of nowhere like it's Jerry Springer. She's like, sit your bitch ass down. You followed me before the show. He's like, I don't follow you. She's like, you follow me, then unfollow me. She says, do you have a picture with your short ass sitting in front of a Christmas tree, crossing your legs, holding a drink? Daniel's like, let me think. I do have pictures. One of them is in front of a fireplace, but I was not holding a drink. She's saying all the things we spoke about are on my gram. And honestly, I'm watching this like, see, this is what happens when you do Love is Blind in a small town. Is Minneapolis a small town? Boom! And that's episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Holy moly. Oh, wow. Listen, I don't know how long this video is, but I know how long it took. It was way sunnier earlier. But yeah, what do you guys think about... Oh, let me do my little ending thing. As always, thanks for checking out Tate's Take. If you enjoyed this video, honestly, please, for the life of you, hit the like and the subscribe button. I need you guys here. I need you guys because this is going to be a long season. And it's just going to be me and you. In the comments, what do y'all think about this season? Am I being harsh on it? Who do you like? Here's how I think about the couples in order of least problematic to most. Least problematic, Joey and Monica. A little too good to be true, but right now on paper, this is it. They're up at the top. Right below them is Devin and Virginia. I'm not at the position spiritually to call Virginia boring, but I got my eyes on her. Below that, Sarah and Ben, because he gonna come around. He's gonna join the Black Panther Party by episode 8. Below them, Daniel and Taylor. Even if he creeped on her, creeped, they still better than Dave and Lauren. That's where I'm standing, my standings at. So put yours in the comment and whatever else you guys want to talk about. And maybe it's not boring. Maybe I'm just tripping because there's not like no drama and all that. You're like, Chris, they're actually finding love. It's not boring. Thanks for the time, yo. Peace. Holy moly. Oh, yeah. Well, hold up. Honestly, this season is interesting because even the previews don't look crazy. Like, and if they can't even twist the previews to look crazy, that means they even less crazy in real life because they always spice it up extra. I'm just kind of worried. But this is what we sign up for. You never know what you're going to get. Last season was so crazy because people didn't like that because it was too crazy. Maybe they'll like it because it's less crazy. But I always say, if it ain't drama, y'all don't want to watch. So now we got less drama, and let's see if y'all watch. Also, what do we think? Do we think this guy really followed her on the gram? I think he did. And what do you think? Do you think she should stay with him? What would you do? If that was me, I would leave him immediately. Because obviously he lied about it. If he really followed her on the gram, then he said no. That's one thing. If he said like, you caught me. Honestly, I saw you on the gram. I friended you. When I connected it that I had already followed you, I remember how hot you were and how nice were things you did. I would be like, look, this is just my truth. And she can tell me that's creepy, go away. Or, you know what? It's romantic. But if he did follow her and lied, he's out of there. But if she's wrong, weird. This video is long enough. To add a ramble on top of a long video, who do I even think I am? Then he talks about where he disagrees with them. Good fucking God.